Welcome everybody to DC Domingo. Like we said last week, there was no podcast last week. I was studying for my finals, and now that my finals are done, I will be having a lot more time to speak with you guys. It's been one hell of a week, not only in politics, but everywhere else. So, word of caution. This podcast also contains the same views as last one, left-leaning views, which is what the most of the truth and justice in the American way comes from. And there will be some mild cursing. I do apologize, but it's been a tough week, and I think we're all adults here. If there are any children listening to these podcasts, I will try to recommend good literature so that you grow up to be as smart and thinking intellectual. So congratulations, you're in the right place. Obviously that's sarcasm. I wish I could enlighten your minds in a better way, but for right now I'm just using this podcast to experiment with audio and video visuals. I need to develop a voice, and these are things I like. DC Comics. I also have one for Xbox, so just bear with me. We're going to have a lot of fun this one. We're not going to be doing any comics reviews. We're not going to be doing TV show reviews. That's going to be next weekend. We also have a review of the Bill Finger documentary and the two-parter History Channel comic books Decoded. So I will have a review of those two, along with other comics that I've been reading, long overdue. But anyways, we're going to be doing a very special show. Obviously, with what happened yesterday, I had a giant show planned, and I had to rearrange it. So this is going to be a little bit different, but just kind of bear with me. First and foremost, this past weekend, I went to see Alien Covenant. That was a really wonderful movie. If you wanted to see, James Cameron's Aliens, I suggest Starship Troopers, which in my opinion, it's a it's a cult classic already. But no spoilers. I did come across this, which is amazing. This is from Facebook, the official Alien Facebook page. The top presenter, the top comment, made this post. Don't make the mistake of thinking this is an Alien prequel. It is very much a Prometheus sequel. If you go into the film with that mindset and enjoy Prometheus, as I did, you will like or even love this film. So congratulations. People are nice and civil. Then the second comment cracked me up. To those of you complaining about it being boring, sorry. It's not another bullshit Marvel movie. Go jerk it to Stan Lee somewhere else. And he got a lot of likes. Sadly, this is not me. But it does show you what we've been talking for quite some time. That in a lot of cinemas across the world, superhero movies are reviled. I went to France. There was a giant poster for Fantastic Four everywhere. But the French people were not really actively engaging, nor will people here in the States. Apparently Fox can only do so many things. They have to do like an Oscar-worthy Logan movie for people to be like, stop saying, give the rights back to Marvel. So I was glad that somebody commented that the Marvel formula is getting old and it's damaging entire franchises. I'm pretty damn sure all the idiots are going to say the same thing about Blade Runner. It needed more jokes from Harrison Ford. He needed to be funnier. Well, that was kind of a nice relief. Alien did win at the box office. However, Guardians of the Galaxy came in second. Had that superhero movie Guardians of the Galaxy been, a Green Lantern flick, they would have crucified it in the media. They would have said, ooh, second weekend, second best. Or actually, they would have said something similar to this. I actually did this comparison. Like the first one dropped 53.0% on the second weekend. This one dropped 54.4%. That's not much, but if I was a clickbaiting a-hole, I would say second weekend performed slower than the second weekend of the first movie. Is the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise in trouble? Of course not. Once I told my friend if they have Howard the Duck, all kind of thinking intellectual critique goes out the freaking window, right? Yep. Howard the Duck. Lovely. So yeah, go see Covenant. It's really dark and gruesome. I love it. There's nothing wrong with liking different things. Not everybody's a Mouseketeer with a giant Joker grin asking for jokes and candy every 5 freaking seconds. I grew up in the 80s with a nuclear doom going on. We enjoy the hell out of life. Yeah, we had good movies and we didn't give a damn. The world might be ending, but screw it. We're going to have good movies. R-rated. RoboCop, Terminator, Total Recall. I mean, freaking Aliens, the second Aliens, Predator, Rambo. Oh my God, come on, I can go on and on. So I think that a lot of this younger generation missed out on all the good movies. For instance, there is a media bias. My Facebook reminded me of something I posted from 2011. I actually wrote to the head geek at Ain't It Cool News, Harry Knowles. I asked him why he wasn't reporting this. Dark Horizons did. They reported that the Avengers script was leaked and that it was halting the production. That wasn't reported in Ain't It Cool News. And I feel that back in those days, YouTube wasn't as popular because not a lot of people had, faster streaming services. 3G was like on its way out, and 4G was not that well inputted into the phones. So a lot of people would get news out like this, in websites. And, I've noticed that I used to argue a lot with the people at Any Cool News because they would put themselves up on a geek pedestal and they would lecture you. They would say, well, I work for Any Cool News. Who are you? Which is kind of like a very dick thing to do. It's kind of like the stereotypical jock who beats on the nerd. It's like, well, I'm superior to you. Who are you? So all that negativity, all those frustrated nerds who lost their high altitude ego, they all moved to YouTube, and they've all been talking trash, thinking they're like, well, I have a title of geek cred. Who are you? And I think that the current younger kids, they look at these idiots on YouTube and they're like, oh my God, this guy on YouTube, he's got a podcast with like famous people and it's all cliquey. Yeah, they're all cliquey famous people. They don't give a damn about you. Do you really think they care what you think? Of course not. Why do you think I close my comment section on YouTube? This is not a conversation. This is a broadcast. I'm broadcasting this to you. If you want to see it, cool. If not, that's okay. But a lot of these, shows like, Nostalgia Critic, Collider, even Cinema Sins, they all kind of are too popular for their own good. Once you tell people what to think, I think you have lost my respect. I don't really care about opinions, honestly. Opinions never solved any problem. I believe in facts, I believe in numbers. I believe in, solid evidence. And the fact that most of the world likes DC movies and the spoiled Americans don't. Hey, you elected Trump. What does that say about your country? So I'm sensing the same kind of, this is a funny word to say, dumbification, the dumbing down of society here in the States. And part of that is dumb entertainment. When people eat too much sugar, you mess up your liver, dude. You can get diabetic type 2. Type 1, you're born with it. So I don't want to mess with you guys. But type 2 is a symptom of having too much sugar. Likewise, the cinema right now is going through a diabetic epidemic. Smart entertainment is being replaced by dumb shit. So, who helps promote this dumb shit? People on YouTube, who basically side with one kind of a corporation. In this case, Marvel Disney. So, even back in the day, they were just being very pro-Disney. So I discovered that the gem, and another awesome peep that I suggest from the Unite the Seven. And if you don't remember what that is, here it is. On YouTube, J-Roar, the Film Junkie, Man of Steel fan gives hope, which has given me quite a few shoutouts. Thank you so much. I wish I had more fans to give you, man. On Twitter, DC Down Under. Oof, awesome crew. Comic book debate. Amazing. On Facebook, The Flightcast. The Flightcast is amazing. I want to do a podcast with them. On Instagram, DC Squad. DC Squad knows more about DC Comics than I do. Anyways, they posted this. Okay, so this is from Entertainment Weekly, parent company being Warner Brothers, and this is their review. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 proves it's possible to be disappointed by a film and still have a good time watching it. Our review. I kid you not. That is the legitimate review from a reputable source called Entertainment Weekly. If I was to say, hey, it is possible to be disappointed by this phone that's not making calls and the touchscreen doesn't work and it's just crap. But boy, did I have a good time spending $1,000 on this phone. Yay. No reviewer does that. And yes, I'm talking about the iPhone. I love Apple products, but it's quite pricey if you don't have the money or credit. Here's the second review. Box office, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Victoria Alexander, filmsandreview.com. The best sequel in years. Though I didn't understand the plot or the dialogue. Okay. And they told me to speak English when I came into this country. Burn. Yeah, exactly. So this is the kind of legitimacy that we're talking about, the critics. And they have the balls to criticize DC. Well, yeah. It's not for everybody. I know you're... Now, we here in the community, DC fans, we have been despised for quite a while. I think that as soon as the popular Musketeers took over the funny books, they became entitled, and quite frankly, often they forget that there are more comic book companies than two. I'm talking about Image Comics. They have some kick-ass comics. Valiant Entertainment has really great comics. IDW, Dark Horse, man. Vertigo. Come on, man. All these idiots online, they don't even know their source material, and they think they're elevated into a pedestal, when they don't know what the hell they're talking about. But we in our community, we do. If we don't know everything in our community, but it is kind of selfish to think that your single brain, knows more than a community. When I have questions, I go to my DC Comics community. I ask questions. I get informed. I buy books. I get my own opinion. Okay, how many bashing videos have you seen me done about Lego Batman? 0. Okay, I pointed out in the last podcast that it didn't gross so much money, even though the critics told us it was better than Batman vs Superman. It isn't. All right, so in our groups, I purposely got rid of the identity of this person, not because I respect him or respect his privacy, but because I don't want to give this person any limelight more than it deserves. And this person met Patty Jenkins, the director of Wonder Woman, and he came into our group, started saying, "Hey guys, I met Patty Jenkins, she's my friend." We were like, "Cool, we know someone in the biz." And then he kept going, "Hey guys, Zack Snyder knows about this group. I told him." We're like, "Oh, cool." That elevated our egos. We were led to believe that the awesome Zack Snyder knew about our group. I'm not going to name the group. It's private. And then, he kept saying, "Oh, my friend Patty Jenkins. Oh, my friend." And I was like, many people were kind of like, this is a stalker material over here, man. He selected a few of us to give us the privilege of listening to a motif song. He said, I'm paraphrasing here, the entire DC universe is going to have a motif song specifically written to appear throughout every single movie, which seemed pretty damn impressive. But upon a few selected members getting private messages from this individual, they discovered that it was a song from the Robert Zemeckis directed film Beowulf. That's right. So a lot of people were like, "Whoa, what's going on? This is not new. Are they reusing it?" Because sometimes, if you look at Masters of the Universe in the 80s, you could definitely tell that they were trying to sample the Superman theme. You can clearly see that it was kind of a ripoff, and most of us in the group were like, "Hey, are they ripping off Beowulf? What's going on?" So, anyways, it caused a lot of problems, and then this individual left and blocked us all and made a fool out of us. Later on, we learned that, he wasn't really genuine, and we felt victims of trolling. So, yeah, we were like, "Oh, this guy, we've been had." So I didn't make any memes about this person, but every member of the group decides what to do. So for instance, like, some people post memes, some people post pictures, other post fan art, other post their fan casts. One person individually got annoying, just fan casting every single character, and I was like, I'm just gonna block this person. I don't care. But anyways, every individual in that group is responsible for their actions. And one person that we noticed was this guy, and he popped up on Twitter again, and he'd been saying some really negative things about our group, even though he came to our group, and he was the one trolling us. So, I noticed that Patty Jenkins was tweeting a lot of cool stuff from the Wonder Woman movie. A lot of people were watching it. He wrote to her, "Hey, Patty Jenkins. Hey, Patty, I was with blank at our early screening of the film. I just wanted to say thanks for the inspiration in my art." Now, this is a theme. This person targets famous people who are trending and says, "You inspire me, you inspire me, you inspire me." And I took psychology in college, and I'm like, this is a little bit unhealthy behavior. Sure, most of the trolls online who target movies are failed movie directors. Heck, I don't have to I can just blindfoldly throw a dart against the wall, and I will hit a blind. I'll blindly hit a frustrated filmmaker. I kid you not. I have one later in the show that I was like, I told my girlfriend, dude, this guy is just like a failed wannabe movie director. Voila, he was. But anyways, so this individual wrote that to Patty Jenkins, and he's referred to her as my friend, and she's very nice, you know. She wrote, "Oh, I remember well. Thank you for your lovely support!" Exclamation mark. You know. And I wrote, "Hey, so and so, I never got that Wonder Woman exclusive soundtrack you mentioned in our group." And I wrote a sad, gif of Snoopy. Yeah, and he never responded. I think he got a little freaked out about that, but I think Patty Jenkins needs to be alerted to this individual. He doesn't really represent us DC fans. He actually trolled one of the best groups that I belong to. He lied to us, and one of his supporters didn't like the fact that we were angry, and he didn't like the fact that some of the members made memes about this individual. And he got really violent too. I'm like, what the hell is up with these people? The second individual actually said, "Hey, if you lived in my town, I punch you in the face. I'm going to report all your accounts to Facebook, so you have to verify your account." And he really wanted to come back at us for making fun, for trolling a troll. And I'm like, excuse me. We grew up with superheroes, you know? If someone is being mean, you have to defend yourself, you know. And the thing is that making memes is very passive, you know. As long as they're not like, hey, do harm to yourself, or the world would be better if you didn't exist. None of that stuff, you know. And it's all inside jokes. So, speaking of inside jokes, I have to bring up this person that I finally got one of my buddies to stop listening to, because this particular individual on the right made a Suicide Squad video mocking it again. Yet I have found better acting, better costume, better talent in this film. Suicide Squad and Axel Braun parody. That's right. A lot of these YouTubers, guess what? They're not very good. And I want to give a shout out to these porn stars. All these people actually read about their characters. They played it really well. And they actually give it a shot to acting, Quite frankly, Axel Braun does better parodies to some of these YouTubers that all these nerd guys go cuckoo. They're like, oh, he's a celebrity because he makes fun of DC. I'm like, no, he's still an asshole. He's just an asshole who has nerdy friends. I don't have that many friends. That in my world, that kind of gives you more nerd cred. Nerds, we were never popular. We don't want to be popular. We just want to freaking enjoy our entertainment, not talk about it online. It's like the people who have great sex, they don't really put it out there on camera, do they? Or the people who make a lot of money, they're not recording themselves making all that money. They're not counting their dollar bills. They just have their John Beck accounts and enjoy their damn life. So if you're a nerd, enjoy your nerdy stuff. My podcast is taking me away from my nerdiness. Speaking of that, this is a cool photo of me and my copy of Injustice 2, which, by the way, I will go ahead and have an early impression / review because I just finished my finals and I'll have time. But, from what you can see, I'm really hyped for it. I will have more info on that. Now, I know this whole episode's going to be about throwing away their trash. I should title it Throwing Out the Trash. So this person posted the following, and this has been posted in some of the groups. Robert Mayor Burnett. He wrote, "The Collider Heroes crew isn't biased against DC movies. We love DC, but we hate the lack of leadership and vision. They're making fun of DC while trashing King Arthur and Warner Brothers." That's like saying, we don't hate the Jews, but that Woody Allen movie lacked leadership. Now, I know that I shouldn't, be upset when this kind of individual comes along, but he is a contributor to Collider. And, like I told you guys, probably a failed film director. And voila, when you look him up, it's like, oh, alright, he made his writing-directing debut in 1999 with a film called Free Enterprise. Later on, he was co-produced Agent Cody Banks, sequel Agent Cody Banks 2. Lovely. And he produced for Warner Brothers, or Warner Premiere, Dark Castles, The Hills Run Red. And for Cinemax, 5 episodes of Femme Fatales. Ooh, kinky. But yeah, so this guy's like a failed film director because he's contributed to a lot of making of, to like Fantasia, Two Towers, all these things that like are better than his material. So this failed movie critic, instead of making movies, goes on YouTube and trashes other people. Here's a fun thing. This is what he had to say about Wonder Woman. And in order for you to understand how I read haters, this is how I read this person. Wonder Woman, screen on Friday. I didn't see it. Every single person I've spoken to who did loved it. Even harsh critics. Boom. You know who speaks like that? Wonder Woman shown Friday. I didn't see it. I was golfing. Everyone who talks to me says huge win. Boom. Now that the movie's really popular, everyone go see it. Hashtag winning. That was my really poor impersonation of Donald Trump, but this is what this guy is. I mean, this guy hates Trump, but he acts just like an asshole. Now, we are going to be holding him responsible for his biased comment, because guess what? Pirates of the Caribbean, a Disney lovely production, is getting slammed by the critics, 35%. Now, we over here don't care how well Disney's doing. You don't see me talking about, Mars Needs Moms, a film which I was the only one to go see in my home theater. I was told I was the only one who bought a ticket. No joke. Also, The Lone Ranger failed. John Carter of Mars failed. They had 3 giant failures back to back, which cost them millions. And, this guy's talking about Warner Brothers' lack of leadership. Bitch, go back to film school. You know what lack of leadership is? Okay, I'll tell you what lack of leadership is. Purchasing Marvel. Pimping out every fucking year, movie after movie after movie after movie. Ruining cinema, according to actual film critics. And cineasts, ask Cans how lovely the the vision and leadership of Disney has been to them. 2, purchase Star Wars. Why make a Tron sequel or a Tron Legacy when you just make Star Wars again? Yeah, just pimp that shit out. Why even bother to read Star Wars Expanded Universe book? Hey, we're better than that. Let's remake episode 4, but we'll put a woman and a black guy. And if you hate the movie, we'll call you racist or sexist. Funny, because you never actually supported Guillermo del Toro movies that didn't do so well at the box office. Who is the racist and sexist? So, yeah, lack of leadership and vision. Check yourself, fool. I mean, right now, what's on the future for Disney? Disney's remaking its entire animated features. Why? Because when they purchased Star Wars, they purchased Industrial Light and Magic. And instead of like, oh, let's share this with wonderful filmmakers, they're like, screw that. We're going to keep ILM busy remaking our cartoons. Yes. Leadership and vision. Exactly. Garbage. Now, here's where we get a little bit more heated, if that wasn't heated enough. Pardon the language, it'll get worse, I promise you. Because it does get worse. With these critics, I can't believe how horrible they are. Okay. So, the trendy thing to do right now is to praise the Wonder Woman movie. Like I just mentioned, now that it's trendy, we should praise it. Why do I think the Wonder Woman movie is being accepted? I'll give you a few suggestions or a few ideas why it is. Hillary Clinton lost the election. There's a lot of frustrated women. Suicide Squad was actually pretty huge despite what haters say, because we had Harley Quinn as a protagonist. Someone who is not a bad person, but it is surrounded by bad environments. We also have Will Smith Deadshot, which kind of brought in African Americans. I myself was surprised with Diablo, because in a lot of movies, they make us Latinos to be, rapists crossing the border wall, apparently. Murders, rapists, they're bringing drugs, all that junk. And I was happy to see that, he kind of stole the show, stole the movie. Very emotional. So, we have a nice demographic of women already. And they were frustrated that Hillary didn't win. They want something good. And Wonder Woman, being a feminist icon, will make them happy. It'll make me happy. I grew up with a single mom and my sister, because my dad was here in the States picking grapes in the fields. I was in Mexico, with my mom. So I grew up with a strong, independent woman. And, I like Wonder Woman for that reason. So, it is, there's also been gigantic marches of women. So the women's movement is really big. So that's one. Number two, why I think Wonder Woman's trending really well, is quite simply, it is a female director. I think it was very well thought of that they got Patty Jenkins, because if you haven't checked out her interview with Jay Moore, please do so. It's on YouTube. Support Jay Moore and Patty Jenkins. Watch all Patty Jenkins' interview. I miss Jay Moore. He had a good TV show not too long ago. But yeah, it's a very insightful interview. Basically, Patty Jenkins, she's kind of like me, where I bring my personality first, but I am aware that I represent my people. I represent Mexicans. Patty Jenkins is really aware that, she is first and foremost a filmmaker, and she represents women. She was very made aware of that when she made the movie Monster. And she faced a lot of backlash from women, but she said, you know what, I'm a filmmaker. I shouldn't be judged on my gender. I should be judged on my merits. And in a perfect world, that would happen. And she's an artist. She's very thorough. And, one of the distinctions that Wonder Woman has between the three previous DC movies is that it's a fish out of water story. So with a lot of ooh, ah. So that's gonna give you some more levity. Whereas Man of Steel, there's gravity. See what I mean? Quite simply because in Man of Steel, there is a giant alien menace, and he is Superman for less than a day. Whereas the Wonder Woman movie, our world is already engulfed in a giant shitstorm called World War One. Everybody's like, they already had that, like climax of angst and fury and anger and war. So they're engulfed in this giant world war, the war to end all wars, right? So putting someone who grew up in Themyscira into the situation, coming into it, sure, she's going to be naive. She's going to give you some levity. She's going to give you some humor. She's going to give you a nice range of emotions because this world is new to her. With Superman, we got that in the montage. And the difference is that Diana is allowed to show her powers in Themyscira, whereas Clark can't save people as Clark. So there's your duality, for all you movie critics who are failing at making movies, at least succeed in making adequate neurons to criticize our movies first. So that's the second one. It's not so much that they got a woman director, it's more that they got a really good director who happens to be a woman. That's 2. Number 3, to quote this a-hole, Robert Meyer Burnett, lack of leadership and vision. I'm sorry, but they greenlight Wonder Woman. Yeah. Before your precious marbles did. So that's another thing, is that we haven't seen a solo female movie in quite a long time. I cited Catwoman with Halle Berry. I like the movie because it gives African American women a cool role model to look up to. I grew up with a Michelle Pfeiffer, vision of Catwoman. It inspired my inner goth to have wild fantasies of listening to, Susie and the Banshees and dancing with a beautiful blonde goth at some point. But anyways, this is a good role model, and I think it's time for women to take center stage. I mean, we have a freaking talking raccoon. Baby Groot looks like Mr. Hanky from South Park. Howdy ho. So if they can put that in the movies, come on, you got to put Wonder Woman in. And I think that so for instance, why is Wonder Woman being praised? Because there is a new women's movement. They chose a really good director who happens to be a woman, and the vision of Warner Brothers had the balls and the ovaries to greenlight this movie when it did. They're putting a lot of money behind it, really good writers, and yes, some of those are males. Speaking of males, this takes me to my next point. We have early reviews, and Patty Jenkins retweeted all these. We have one from Jared Weisselman, who, I don't know if he was being facetious or not, but he tweeted a JLA gif, which is kind of disrespectful. It'll be like me tweeting David Ayer, hey, congratulations, your Batman's really good, and then I put a gif of Batman vs. Superman directed by Zack Snyder. David Ayer would be like, dude, what the hell? My Batman is in a couple scenes. You should probably pick the right, picture to go along with your words. So you might think it's just like an isolated thing. It shouldn't be a big deal. But no, we have more. To kind of show you the credibility of these movie reviewers, right? Stephen Weintraub. Happy to report Wonder Woman, quote unquote, is a blast, and Gal Gadot is fantastic. Her chemistry with Chris Pine is magnetic. Absolutely recommended. Again, this picture, this GIF, is from the Justice League of America, directed by Zack Snyder. Okay, partner, here we go. Jason Guarascio. Again, this is a picture from Batman vs. Superman, directed by Zack Snyder. And let me guess, this guy's from freaking Collider, I suppose, right? Wow, the hype is real. Wonder Woman film is truly wonderful. I totally loved it. Again, the same GIF from Zack Snyder's Justice League. Guys, if you're gonna praise a movie, please do your fucking homework. It is not that fucking difficult. How do you know, Sergio? Oh shit, look. When you type in GIFs, type in Wonder Woman. I didn't even type Wonder Woman movie. Alright? And you look down. 2 Linda Carters, 1 cartoon, the spinning, and look, Gal Gadot in World War I blocking bullets. It's not that easy to be lazy. It's easy to be lazy, come on. So, I got to admit that all these movie critics, they're going with the bandwagon. They don't want to be called sexist a-holes. And they're like, look, we're not biased. But this is after the fact. You know, this is after everybody's like, oh, I guess this is a good movie. We should, yeah, thumbs up slowly. Yeah, okay, guys. Oh, yeah, thumbs up. Oh, yeah, I was totally in love with it to begin with. That's what's happening. You know, they're going with the trend. And I guess it's good. But also, I don't want to be a blind follower. You know? I think that this is going to be a good movie because it doesn't carry the weight of a DC universe. It carries the weight of representing a feminist woman icon. And what better way to showcase that to have her come into World War I, which is a mess, us with a penis totally fucked up, you know? You know, it's kind of like, kind of a little on the nose, which is good. I approve. So, yes, like I was saying, a lot of these people bring in their own psyche into a conversation, like your racist uncle. You know, they get triggered. For instance, we have Anna Klassen. And again, this is brought to you by, awesome people just doing research. The Flightcast, again, on DC. Hashtag we love Patty Jenkins. Hashtag accountability. So we have this Anna Klassen saying, after seeing what Patty Jenkins accomplished with Wonder Woman, Zack Snyder shouldn't be allowed to touch the DCU with a 10-foot pole. Again, if somebody comes to me and says, yeah, they shouldn't allow Mexicans into this place. Mexicans shouldn't come to within a 10-foot pole of this. Should not be allowed to touch this with a 10-foot pole. I'd be like, hey, fuck you. Why you bring him into this shit? You're bringing your hatred to a predetermined entity into a conversation that should not have had in the first freaking place, man. And quite frankly, they're taking away credit from Patty. They're sandwiching bullshit with sprinkled goodness. Yes, they're praising Wonder Woman. They're shitting on Zack Snyder. And then they're, finishing the packaging with like, he shouldn't be allowed to touch the DC Extended Universe. And, quite frankly, those people are trash. Quite frankly, as a minority, I can be like, hey, Anna Klassen, I can see you're white. White people should not have an opinion. Because, history has taught us that you white people destroyed Africa, Americas, Asia, Europe, Australia. And now you're destroying the environment with your Industrial Revolution. Congratulations. You're not allowed to speak anymore. Sure, that might bug a lot of people, but that's just generalizing. I could go to her, Twitter page and just highlight some of the dumb stuff that, she said. But again, I'm not going to, because I got better things to do. And, quite frankly, assholes do this shit all the time. They bait you to say something horrible. It's the Donald Trump effect. Insult, play the victim when someone speaks up, and then the victims are demonized by your followers. Case number 2. Kylie Ann. So DC finally has a half-decent film, one molded by women, but we still have to give all the credit to the dude who ruins everything. Again, white person. Oh dear. I know, right? So she says half a decent film. So let me get this straight. A dude can give you a half decent film, but you have a problem when a woman does it? Who's a feminist here? Yeah, with all due respect, guess who created Wonder Woman? A dude. And guess who created you? Part of a sperm. A lot of these people, they seem to forget that we are all united. And that, like me as a minority, I'm not going to tell white people who are helping me to fuck off. I'm sorry, but that's a shitty attitude. Besides Zack Snyder, he's not putting his fucking name on the marquee. I'll show you who does that. And these fucking people don't say shit. So it's kind of sad that the Flightcast has to put pictures to make these idiots understand. Step 1, use praise of Patty Jenkins to discredit Zack Snyder. It's called the Trump effect. Number 2, wait for fans to defend unwarranted attack on Zack Snyder. Yeah, so for instance, and BatmanNews.com was demonized for putting that quote I showed you. And then, step 3, claim that fans are undercutting Patty Jenkins and her accomplishments. Alicia Grauso wrote this. Superhero movie comes out, fans praise male director. Not all the time. You should ask Anna Clanson what she fucking said about Zack Snyder. And you should ask Kylie Ann what she fucking said about Zack Snyder. So, stick with your facts, right? Alternative facts. Superhero movie finally directed by a woman comes out. Fans praise male producer. Have you seen Punisher, Warzone, Alicia? I think she might have, because, here's the thing, though. If I hear a Republican talk shit about the Democrats, I'm kind of going to be like, that person's not very credible. Same shit over here. Oh, look, it's all the Marvel bullshit. Yeah, look in the background. There's even a dude with the Disney ears. Oh, this is so wonderful. Yeah, movie. She's a contributor to Forbes. Good for you. It doesn't show me any bias. It'll be like listening to a conservative talk shit about Hillary, and then you go to their page and it's all fucking, conservative bullshit. Maybe you should talk to your Marvel CEO who endorses Trump and take that shit down. So that's the sad reality that we have to live in. These people live in a fucking bubble, and they used whatever they can to talk shit about Zack Snyder. They make it seem like Zack Snyder is Steven Spielberg. That's right. Steven Spielberg presents Gremlin. Steven Spielberg presents Young Sherlock Holmes. Steven Spielberg presents Taken. Steven Spielberg presents Transformers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Steven Spielberg presents Freakazoid. Steven Spielberg presents Pinky and the Brain. Steven Spielberg presents Toonsylvania. Steven Spielberg presents Animaniacs. Wow. Can you imagine what these assholes would have said if Zack Snyder wrote Zack Snyder presents Wonder Woman, a Patty Jenkins film. Yeah, they're making it seem like that's what he fucking did, and he didn't. You know, his name is not even on the Wonder Woman poster. You know, this is Patty Jenkins' directorial, juggernaut. But we're not gonna undercut the males in this production just so that you can have your stupid soundbite. That's fucking sexist. I'm sorry. I mean, if I'm Mexican and I just go, yeah, I'm just gonna give credit to just the Mexicans who work in the movie and fuck all y'all. People will be pissed. Oh, and speaking of Mexicans, my fellow Mexican, Guillermo del Toro, has made, that thing too. And nobody has given him shit because these bloggers are afraid to be called bigots. They only pick on things they can get away with. Zack Snyder is a white dude. They don't say shit about my gente because they know they're going to get, they're going to be called not only just an asshole, but a racist asshole. What Trump has taught us is that you can be an asshole to some people and be okay. It's kind of like testing the waters. And if you take in psychology, you know that every human response desensitizes those neurons, those receptors. So if you're a cynic, you're just going to keep going more and more and more cynic, because your body gets addicted to those emotions. So if you're a sexist asshole towards men or women, you're going to keep being that. So these people are being mean. They choose who they're mean to, and they get away with it. So, for instance, over here we have, presented by Guillermo del Toro, creator of Pan's Labyrinth. We have Mama. We also have The Orphanage. Guillermo del Toro presents. Again, I love my homeboy, but, if Zack Snyder did that with Wonder Woman, these bloggers would have fucking killed him. In press. And a lot of people have been saying stuff like that. We recently got into getting rid of a hateful individual on Facebook who wanted to kill Zack Snyder. He said just horrible things, and he used to mock him continuously on a page I'm not even going to mention. And like I said, when you have people in a position to influence others, like these so-called journalists and online reviewers who are giving a green light to hate on Zack Snyder, you give birth to trolls who will target Zack Snyder, who will target, his immediate people. I mean, it's amazing that all these haters didn't give a fuck about Deborah Snyder, who is a producer. They're like, oh yeah, we love women, we love Patty Jenkins. Fucking mention Deborah Snyder. She has a much right to be there, just as, Zack. So if you don't want to give credit to Zack Snyder, at least give it to Deborah Snyder, okay? And I mean, I think that's one of the main symptoms, is that these people don't know shit. All they know is that I'm supposed to trash Zack Snyder whenever the subject comes up. Again, if they wanted to really be empowering women, why not praise Diane Nelson? She is the president of DC Entertainment, okay? You don't have to bash Zack Snyder. If you're so pro-women, be pro-women, okay? Seriously, why not, praise Jeanette Kahn? Why not praise Karen Berger? Why? Because these people are assholes and they don't give a fuck about women. They give a fuck about, clickbaits and shit. I will suggest 2 articles to these haters. One is by Bustle. 7 things feminists of color want white feminists to know. And as a minority myself, this is always a struggle. Being part of a group and then have white people just kind of appropriate it and dictate what the group is. As someone who, came to the U.S. in 1994, and some of the kids in my high school, no, my junior high actually, and were like, "Hey, he doesn't know who Wolverine is. Ha 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 ha. Let's make fun of him." Well, quite frankly, Wolverine was not very popular in Mexico, but they were making fun of me for not knowing. There you go. You had the hierarchy. Little did they know that the first Superman movie was produced by Salkind, who were Mexican and Eastern European. So they don't know their history. They don't know shit. The other page that I'm going to suggest is feministing. Feminism needs to include men to obtain equality for all. Yeah, quite simple. United, we stand. Divided, we fall. I mean, it's a no-brainer. So yeah, that's the kind of controversy that we were dealing a few days ago. Before the big news that happened is that, my condolences to the Zack Snyder family, and they actually announced that their daughter committed suicide 2 months ago. No, they didn't single out anybody, but Zack Snyder did say that he anticipated people had their narrative, and he wanted to keep it quiet because he wanted to step down from production to be with his family. There are some reshoots that he was scheduling to be done in the UK, and he realized that his family, his 7 kids, needed them. He actually adopted a couple kids in the second marriage to Deborah Snyder, and they have an integrated family, a multicultural integrated family. And he knew that these bloggers would just tear him up. He knew that these haters would just trash him regardless. And, he stepped down and he chose Joss Whedon to complete those reshoots. All that we can really say is that this is impacting people in a personal level. Not because, for all these people who hate Zack Snyder, there you go. Own this shit, okay? This is what happens when your negativity reaches the universe and manifests itself. Sometimes in not the ways you wanted, okay? This is all on you haters, because when someone's suffering from depression and suicide tendencies arise, it's a little bit more comforting knowing that your dad is loved. So perhaps this is also on us, fans. Maybe we didn't scream loud enough that we love Zack Snyder, and that's why, it kind of hit us, One thing that I do have to say is that this person, Alicia Grauso, on her Twitter wrote, "Hey guys, don't write to the Snyders condolences. They're living it." Kind of like Two-Face, It's like, it's a two-faced comment. And guess what? I did write to Zack Snyder. I wrote, "Hola jefe," no words, just hugs. And that's what I did, I call him jefe because, when he went to Mexico, he was like, "Hey man, I grew up in LA. Mexico's my culture." I'm like, all right, he sounds like a jefe, And, today Zack Snyder wrote, "Hey, thank you guys for the beautiful outpour support." So if you listen to Alicia Grauso, you would have never written to Zack Snyder giving him his condolences. In her mind, leaving Zack Snyder alone was a good thing to do. That kind of tells you that it's just bullshit. It's a bullshit sentiment that she has. And you should always follow your heart. And if your heart tells you that if someone is feeling pain, you reach out to them and help them out. That's why these people that are hating on Zack Snyder, instead of telling them to fuck off, I offer them 2 articles. Because if you want to misrepresent feminism, go ahead and do that on your own time. You know, you got us involved. You got us DC fans and Wonder Woman fans involved. Sure, I'm not gonna be like, hey, listen to this man. No, I want you to listen to Gina Florido, who wrote the Bustle article of 7 things feminists of color want white feminists to know. I also want you to listen to this other woman, Rianne, who wrote the Feministing article. And the Feministing article is a community, so it's a community-sanctioned article. And yeah, I also want you to listen to another woman, Autumn Snyder. She's no longer with us. Perhaps, you should have listened. And we lost a woman, God knows why. And now the entire DC community is suffering for it and mourning in this loss. So yeah, this is my podcast. This is kind of cathartic to kind of just get it out there. And you reap what you sow. I praise DC Comics. Things that I don't like about DC, I don't really care. If they make a shampoo for kids that smells like strawberries, I don't like that smell. I'm not going to buy it, but I'm not going to go online and trash it. Likewise, I am going to go see the Pirates of the Caribbean. I like pirates. Am I going to trash Disney? Fuck no. I got better things to do. Am I going to trash these haters? No, but I will call them out. That's what you got to do. You got to stand up to bullies. Otherwise, the bullies rule the world. The bullies rule the blogosphere. And depression grows. You feel depressed, and you start to have thoughts. Are these Zack Snyder haters responsible for the death of this child? Here's the thing. We will never know. It's not like we can ask her. We can look at her browsing history, but that's not going to do us any good. So yeah. Own that shit, haters. You might not have cared about Zack Snyder because he's a man, but a woman died today. Or 2 months ago. And, that's it. That's it for our episode. I will have wonderful reviews of the series finale of the CW. Supergirl, I just saw it. It's really awesome. Gonna go see The Flash and Arrow tomorrow. And I'll also include Legends. And on the next podcast, I'll include those. I'll include the reviews of the 2 documentaries and The Button. All right, DC guys. It's a long one. Thank you for being with me. The few followers I have, thank you so much. Dile sí a DC. Gracias.